Okay, this is a response to a Derrick Jaxn video where he basically says that it's a woman's prerogative whether or not she's going to be rude and disrespectful to a man when she rejects his approach, even if he wasn't rude and disrespectful to her when he approached her.
Bitches always think that you trying to talk to them, yo. Like, as soon as you say something, they immediately think that you trying to bag them or something. No, it's not that. I just seen a bitch walking, so I'm like, yo, excuse me. So she mumbled something under her breath, and it sounded like, why this nigga think he could get me, or niggas always trying to get me, some nut shit. Besides the fact. So I'm like, what you say? She said, what do you want? First of all, you're not about to have that tone with me. Yes, I am, because I got a boyfriend. We got 3 kids. We just had an amazing Christmas. I don't give a fuck about another thing you just said, you stupid bitch. I was about to inform you that your fucking shoelaces is untied.
So let me translate this real quick. What he's saying then, fragile ego, hurt feeling, having ass, insecure, poorly raised male rhetoric is, why is it that whenever a woman doesn't feel like being bothered, she tells you with her body language, then verbally, and then whenever you forget to get both of those hints, she shows you that she doesn't feel like being bothered because you just insist on bothering her.
Okay, now first of all, the only thing that the guy said initially was excuse me, and she got an attitude. Now, Derrick Jaxn swoops in to try to say that she doesn't want to be bothered, just don't bother her. That's the argument. When women don't want to be bothered, just don't bother them. But yet women complain about men not approaching them. In fact, Derrick Jaxn has had to make a video explaining why men stare but don't approach. And women were in the comment sections lamenting about how men stare and don't approach. And why is that? What am I doing wrong? They were calling men weak and scared. They're cowards. And they're afraid to approach a woman. So apparently women do want to get approached, but yet they're complaining about being approached. So what can we conclude from that? What it is that they want to be approached only by attractive men. They get an attitude when they're approached by unattractive men. They're complaining because they don't like the men that's approaching them. But this is about fragile male ego. When some women think they can walk through the world and only be approached by men who they want to approach them. But if they get approached by a man who they're not attracted to, or they think he's ugly, or they just find him unattractive for whatever reason, they're going to get an attitude and respond back to him being rude and disrespectful, and it's just their prerogative to do so, and Derrick Jaxn is excusing it.
But this is less about him and more about the fact there are a lot of men like him who go unaddressed, who feel like, if they stop a woman from minding her business, it's her obligation to be in a good mood about it. Because you can only get this mad if you feel entitled from a certain response from a woman whenever you holler at her. But bro, you're not.
Okay, but who's more entitled? The person who gets an attitude because the person who he approached got an attitude, or is the person more entitled who got an attitude because the person who approached them didn't look the way they wanted him to look, didn't walk the way they wanted him to walk, didn't talk the way they wanted him to talk? They're getting an attitude because they don't like the quality of the men that are approaching them. No woman has ever got an attitude. It didn't matter if she was happily married to Idris Elba. If Morris Chestnut approached her, she's not going to get an attitude. She's going to politely reject. So they're getting an attitude because they don't like who's approaching them. So who's more entitled? The person who feels that they should only be approached by who they want to approach them, or the person who approached someone, more than likely would have accepted a respectful rejection, but got a mean attitudey rejection, and then he gave some mean attitudey stuff back to her. Who's more entitled?
Like, it's nice if a woman does respond favorably with a smile on her face and a good mood and all of that. But let's be real. Most times when a woman does that to a dude, he takes it as a sign that she wants the D, and therefore a green light that he can keep pressing her for conversations she didn't want to have in the first place. And now that's more of a bruised ego she got to worry about protecting herself from whenever she shuts it down later, because to him, she was sending him signals and leading him on that she really did like him. So for real, for a lot of women, it's a lose-lose situation.
The majority of men can accept a polite no. It's only a small percentage who will just get mad and cuss a woman out no matter what. But we're talking about a small percentage that will do that. So to make excuses and say that women at large are allowed to be rude and disrespectful to a man who was initially not rude or disrespectful to them, under the assumption that he might be rude and disrespectful to her polite no, so she's just going to preemptively give him a hard, aggressive, mean, rude, disrespectful no? That makes no sense at all. What makes this even more ridiculous is that he has said in in plenty of other videos that men should be respectful to women at all times, no matter what, no matter how they look, no matter how they walk, no matter how they talk, no matter how they dress. They could be walking around with their ass hanging halfway out, and men should still be respectful of them and make no assumptions of them and how they are and what they're going to do and how they're going to behave. But apparently it's a woman's prerogative whether or not she should treat a man with respect, even if he wasn't disrespectful. Now let's watch how his arguments change when the woman was on the hot seat.
But what is not your prerogative is whether or not somebody else deserves to be treated with respect, or approached with, or talked to with respect, especially based on how they look. Because before any woman looks like anything, a queen or whatever, she also looks like and is a human.
We got him.
If a woman should be approached with respect, no matter what, then a man should be responded to and or rejected with respect, as long as he met the first condition of initially approaching her with respect.